MPL presents Cricbuzz Live double-header on a Sunday, and it's almost as if the matches were allocated with a bit of a pattern. On Saturday, we had 3 out of 4 teams in the top 4. Now we have 3 out of 4 teams in the bottom 4 playing on Sunday. It's going to be pink and purple at night, but before that, it's going to be an unfamiliar green kit for the Royal Challengers Bangalore taking on the Blues from the Delhi Capitals. But the real big news, even before we talk about the toss, is the fact that the two teams, after getting into losing ways, have gone unchanged. And I'm going to start on that very note with my guest in the studio, Joy Bhattacharjya. First, Michael Vaughan. Michael, we spent a very interesting Saturday evening discussing all possible changes for these two teams as a preview. It's all out the window.
Yeah, but I respect that. You know, the RCB have been swapping and changing everything throughout the first 5 games, lost every single one. I expected them to change again, but I think Gary Kirsten would have got involved and gone, wait a minute, we weren't that bad the other night. It was just the last 2 or 3 overs that we didn't crack right. Same 11, go out and produce a similar performance. If you get that 90% turned into 100%, you win the game. So I actually respect the fact that they've gone with the same group of 11. I thought they would have changed one bowler in particular. I thought Tim Southey may have missed out, but full respect, they're going with the same set of 11 that lost that game against KKR. They've just got to improve just that little bit, and if they can just get that improvement by a few percent, they should be able to put Delhi under a huge amount of pressure.
He mentioned Tim Southey. The other bowler we thought of was Mohammad Siraj.
Virat's name is now formally from now on Virat M.T. Kohli, Virat Mother Teresa Kohli, because nobody to be forgiving of Siraj after what he did last time. I mean, one is to bowl badly, the other is to get himself sent off, trying 2 slower balls. So whatever it was, I mean, and if you have a bowler like Umesh Yadav sitting out there in the hatch, who's out there, dropped catches as well. So he had a nightmarish game. The fact that he's playing again today, great for them. I agree with Michael. I think it's more of a statement rather than saying, let's put our best 11 out. It's more saying that, look, the more we change, the more we're telling other people that we don't know what we're doing. For the team, for everyone's sake, it's important to make a stand and say, you know, this is us and we'll fight, we'll die, fight, whatever. And I think it's much more, it's less to do with cricket skills than to do with the, you know, out here with the teams. And I think in that sense, it's probably a good call.
Is that what, I mean, we talked about Kirsten on one side, is that what the likes of Ponting and Saurav Ganguly would have said to the Delhi boys, that yes, we may have been on the wrong side of a couple of results, but we haven't done that badly, so from the last game, we'll keep faith in that 11?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Delhi a couple of games ago were 2 out of 3, and then they lose 2 games on the trot. That real poor chase against Kings, and then, you know, you get beaten every now and again. A better opposition, which the Sunrisers were in that game in Delhi. But yeah, I would think Saurav and Ricky Ponting would be exactly the same. They'll want consistency, and they'll want a real solid group playing on a regular basis in every game if they can possibly get that. There's plenty of talent in that group. There's plenty of variations. There's lots of variables with the ball in hand, and they've got some real good combinations with the bat. You know, they've just lost a little bit of confidence after that loss to Kings, which was a real poor run chase.
I really like, because also these batsmen are meant for these kind of pitches. All 4 of their top order love the ball coming on. So if there's a pitch that's tailor-made for them to perform, this is the pitch. Bangalore is where the Delhi Capitals should be batting at their best, because this and the Wankhede are the 2 pitches that are made for them.
Let's also look at the record between these sides. We saw it was a bit of a lopsided record with the Chennai Super Kings yesterday. But how about this particular side since 2011? And the reason why we've picked this particular year is because this is the time when Delhi let very generously, talk about Mother Teresa, Delhi also can be dubbed that, very generously let a lot of their big superstars go. Come play for us for a season, then off you go. Go and find yourself a nice franchise. 13-1. And I mean, everyone from a Dilshan to a De Villiers to a Shikhar Dhawan who's gone and come back has played, learnt their trade in Delhi, and then
yeah, Delhi has been generous. Delhi has been generous to Bangalore for the longest time. I mean, forget about everything else. They had the first pick in the auction, and they had the opportunity to pick up Virat Kohli, who was a Delhi boy. And they turned around and said, look, we've got too many batsmen. They turned around and they took a bowler called Pradeep Sangwan, who was a decent fast bowler, but Pradeep Sangwan's international career may not quite be Virat Kohli. So Delhi has been generous. Then they allowed the likes of AB, Dilshan, all these guys to go across and plumb their trade in Bangalore. They even sent their best fast bowler. At that time, Dirk Nannis used to play for them. He went across. Daniel Vettori went across. So Delhi has played a large part in making this Bangalore franchise what it is.
But I have to say that, you know, yes, history suggests that RCB have had the wool over the eyes of the Delhi Daredevils, now the capital, but that shouldn't affect the players today. You know, that was last year, it was the previous years, it wasn't as if it happened 2 days ago. I think stats like that are always great for us to talk about, but they should have no effect on the players that are playing in that game today. You know, I look at it in test match cricket and 50 over cricket, and we all look at these stats and these trends that have happened. And I always say to players that are playing again, there's no history that should affect your mindset on this given day. There's nothing that happened last year or the previous year that should put you in a negative mindset to how you're going to play at this ground against this team, because it's a brand new day. There's new players in either side, there's new coaches on either teams. All right, there'll probably be quite a few thousand that have been to a lot of those games. That's the only comparable that I can give those kind of stats, is there'll be people that will be in the ground today that were probably there last year, the year before, and the year before that. The players, it should not affect them.
Yeah, we were actually trying to sneak in and find a few things that the teams have been doing in their off time, and one of the little tidbits we came across was Shreyas Iyer, who was given a little rap on the knuckles. Generally it's a rap on the knuckles. He was given a rap on the shoulder and asked to carry, I think it was a boombox, and not for any other reason other than the fact that he had done something on the cricket field. On the cricket field, he had erred, and hence he was told to do that by apparently Ricky Ponting.
That's an interesting one. I mean, my one thing was, KKR, all the teams have their own ways of doing it, and as I said, mostly it's player-driven to a large extent. But I don't remember in our 7 years ever giving a punishment for something that happened in the field. All our punishments used to be for not landing up on time or doing something silly out there or not attending a team meeting. It was always stuff like that which was off the field, because on the field no player wants to drop a catch. You know, coming on time to this thing is a choice, but not. I mean, this is the thing. So I'm surprised that it ever has to do with stuff on the field. So
on the field, I don't agree with. You know, off the field, we used to have social committees. You know, their role was, players. I don't agree that it should come from the coaches. I think it should come from the players. You know, you should all have some kind of team rules that you abide by, and lateness. You know, you'd be on top of anyone that's late, wearing the wrong kit, missing a training session, missing a gym session, missing a cool-down session in the pool or in the ice bath. These kind of things. The funniest comment of the day. They're kind of things that were always in.
Any funny punishments based on that?
No, just little fines, and then the fines would go towards a team gathering at the end of the tour or at the end of a series, or we might give it to charity. It would all depend. But the emoji pajamas, I think the Mumbai Indians make one of their players that does a silly thing or something doesn't quite happen in the right manner to wear the emoji pajamas. I'm not against that as long as it's come from the team. Team rules are all about the team. The coaching, they're a part of the team, but it really has to be driven by the captain and that social group, and the team have to buy into that kind of culture for it really to work. If it's from someone outside of the team and they say, oh, this is happening, you'll not get a full buy-in from the actual players, which is what it's all about.
I can tell you, once I was the victim of it as part of a television crew, and the stunt, as it were, actually backfired. This was in South Africa, and they used to give what they call the shirt of shame. Be it a cameraman, whoever, you took a wrong shot, you went out of focus, you got the shirt of shame. So day 4 or day 5, I think there was something wrong with the microphone or something I did, and I was told to wear the shirt of shame the next day. The only problem was, it was a shirt that was completely up my street. It was a ridiculous loud shirt with flowers and pineapples and things on it. And I was like, are you serious? You want me to wear this and I'm supposed to be shamed? I loved it. And I wanted to do something wrong every day, then I had to change it.
I'll tell you one more. Jonathan Agnew, who works with me back home at the BBC, is on a magnificent commentator on Test Match Special. When he first started at the BBC, he came into the TV box and there was Fred Truman, Jack Bannister, legends of the game, and he was a bit sure of himself, so they set him up to do a live feed into Grandstand on a Saturday afternoon. So he thinks he's live, Fred Truman with a pipe on, and Jack Bannister, and they set him up beautifully because he's asking them questions and they just go, don't know. And he's like got a flap on, he's got his producer in his ear telling him off. So if you want to have a look, Jonathan Agnew, YouTube, being set up by Fred Truman and Jack Bannister, TV gold.
Oh, Freddie, I just don't know. Oh, Freddie. Let's get back to this. Get your super team in. That's what I've been doing, by the way, while these two gentlemen were having a chat. Fortunately today, thanks to unchanged lineups, I didn't need to waste any time and get some changes in. I'm sure if you've picked your MPL super team, you won't need to make any changes, because thanks to both Virat Kohli and Shreyas Iyer, both the Delhi Capitals and the Green Royal Challengers Bangalore are unchanged for today, so no heartaches as far as that is concerned. Well, that's the match today. A quick one about the kit. The green kit, where they talked about when South Africa, every time they used to play in pink, they would play out of their skins. But for the Royal Challengers Bangalore, when they started in green, it started on a fairly decent note, but overall, if you have a look at the record, it's actually turned negative for them. One big partnership between AB and Virat Kohli, and one other victory. That was it.
But I think that happens, and this is the kind of stat where what you don't want to do is tell the team, because teams are notoriously superstitious, players are very superstitious. So if it's in their heads that, oh no, we don't do very well in green, that's the kind of thing that has an impact. And I hope nobody has shown them that stat, because that's what will really bother them. Other than that, players are not really normally bothered about
Joy,
it.
I'll give them some advice. They've not done very well in red. So the psychologists will be absolutely delighted, because they were saying to the players, you're a different team. You've got a different kit on, different colour. Forget you've been the Royal Challengers Bangalore for the last 2 weeks. You've lost 5 out of 5. You're now the Royal Challengers green team. Don't play a bit better.
The only problem is if they win, they'll insist on wearing green.
No, I won't.
Exactly. The amount of times we've said that Rohit Sharma needs to go out and play Test cricket in the blue shirt, and he'll probably score 100.
Absolutely.
Or Martin Guptill play Test cricket for New Zealand wearing a Black Caps jersey. He just can't seem to get it right in. Well, the 226 is one of the partnerships that we remember. 2 big performances that come to my mind immediately. One is Quinton de Kock playing out of his skin, the only time Delhi actually lorded it over the Royal Challengers in this ground. And of course, when they wore green, ABD and Virat Kohli getting out there. 226 against the hapless Gujarat Lions.
Yeah, that was a marvellous match. But of course, the Gujarat Lions bowling was, you have to say that Rabada and Morris and the likes, Lamichhane are a slightly tougher different kettle of fish than the Gujarat lineup, which was fantastic for batsmen, but terrible bowling side.
Certainly was. But against Delhi, if you have a look at it, it's not that they've got a bad record, not that they have a bad record, period. But as we've often seen that you pick on a few teams and have a look at that. I mean, the AB de Villiers' strike rate is absolutely phenomenal, but those averages as well is something to keep an eye on, because often in T20 cricket, you're looking at now acceptable average around 40 if your strike rate is in the 150s and 160s. Averages and strike rates.
No, absolutely. I think the other thing that jumps out at me is they probably played each other about 17, 18 times where Virat has played. And 850s out of 17, 18, that's pretty high success rate. You'd have to say that's pretty high. He likes his attack.
Not quite David Warner-like, but yeah.
Yeah, I still feel with both of them that played nicely just the other night, but I still don't think they're at the top of the game. They're still scratching around a little bit. For these two real world-class performers, they've not quite got to that level, even though they did hit a few to the boundary, got a couple of nice 50s themselves. They still, if you asked them and said, come on, you hit them nicely, or you're seeing the ball like a beach ball, I think both of them are saying, not quite at the minute, we're scratching around a bit. So maybe today's the day that they suddenly offload. The shackles will have been let off. All the talk in the team would have been, look, just go out and enjoy your cricket. You've lost 5, get together, have a bit of fun. I'm sure they've had a team night out over the last couple of nights just to try and bring a little bit of fun to the kind of group. And they'll go out and I'm sure they'll try and play some shots and free themselves. But that could go one or two ways. It might make them get 250. It also might just bring out a few early wickets as well, because they might take on some risks.
I'm not completely unhappy with them batting first, because batting is their strong suit. They might as well go out and do it.
Yeah, one of those tosses that you'd rather lose in a situation where you've lost 5. You don't want again to have to make that decision and therefore justify it.
I'd rather not calculate. I'd rather want them to go and say, see the ball, start hitting it, and then just see how it goes from there on.
But in terms of weakness, we talked about Chris Gale against slow bowlers. We talked about the possibility of Superman Ray Russ being undone by slow bowling. Virat Kohli and AB de Villiers both have had an issue against wrist spin, 11 out of 19 times in recent times. So Delhi have Sandeep Lamichhane, they have Tewatia. So
certainly that's the kind of angle that you're trying to attack those two great players with. Shreyas Gopal got them for Rajasthan through the gate. He did for Virat Kohli, and then AB de Villiers just looked all at sea against the leg spin. I think he's kind of setting himself up for the googles. You see so many wicket-to-wicket balls now by the leg spinners, and the ball that comes back, the googly, can kind of restrict the right-handers of any kind of width. And I think AB de Villiers in particular is looking for that all the time, so he's opening up his body for the googly a little bit too soon. He's just got to stay a little bit side on for a split second longer, just watch the ball in the air, and then we know he's got the gift as soon as he picks length to strike it out the ground. So he's just got to stay a little bit more side on, just a split second longer.
With Virat, sometimes can it become a mental thing? I mean, I know he's so strong otherwise. Even with Adam Zampa, we saw in playing for the India Blue against Australia.
Look, the way he operates, he would have seen it. He does actually see a lot of tape as well. He goes, he sees tapes, he would have seen it, he would have practiced. He normally has the ability to be able to overcome this, and he consciously does it. He just says, I'm going to work harder than anyone else at it and do it. He would have guys in the nets bowling to him. He'd do all the hard work, and then he'd sort of free himself. So that's his way of approaching it. Other people will just forget about it. So each one has his own way. But don't think that Virat is not unaware of it, and he'd be working very hard to make it.
The good thing about this game, it's if you go back to the KKR game, so RCB are batting first, so the bowlers will be under that pressure again. The pressure that they couldn't withstand just the other night. You go back to Delhi 2 games ago, the fact that they were chasing that score against Kings and they flapped and lost 8 wickets at the end. So they're going back to that kind of position. Whatever they chase, they will be in a position of pressure. They'll be in a position where Virat will be in their ear saying, remember 2 games ago, you didn't cope with it. So this really does become a mental battle for both teams of how they're going to cope in the second innings of the match, because there are a few gremlins there from just a game or so ago.
I feel that this is actually a much more crucial game for Delhi than for RCB. The reason I say it is that I really don't rate RCB's chances at this point of winning the number
7 out of 9.
They're 7 out of 9. But Delhi is on the cusp. They've changed their name, new management, new season, 2-4, 2-3, 2-4, 2-5, and suddenly that, the whole thing looks a lot shakier. And I think it's important for them to come and get this win out here. The other thing that will be on their mind is that this is the lowest ranked team in the tournament. This is literally they're playing, the lowest team in the tournament. It's a must win for them. And I think therefore the pressure is a little bit more on them.
There's a confirmation of that. The calculation, we were talking about 7 out of 9 because over the years we've seen that 14 points is generally an acceptable threshold to try and qualify possibly in 3rd or 4th place, which is why with Bangalore 0 out of 5, that's what they need to do. So Delhi very much mathematically still in it, so hence they need to be...
They're a match away from 50%. They win this, they go back with a certain amount of confidence, things could be different. One of the 2-3 of the young players get some runs, get some more confidence, immediately they're a different side. Because see, they're a good bowling side. What Delhi has never had is a really good bowling side. Rabada and Lamichhane are match winners.
Yeah. And it's all psychology, because Delhi, as much as they'll try not to think about it, all teams think, well, RCB are going to win a game. They will win a game. They've lost 5. And it's now the 6th opportunity for the RCB team to go on and win their first game of the tournament. And it just, these little gremlins, there's a great book, Stephen Peters, called The Chimp Management. It's about this little chimp that's in the back of everyone's mind, and the chimp always tells you negativity. And you've got to clear the chimp out of the mind. You've got to get rid of that little chimp and say, no, I'm not letting you affect me today. The Delhi Capitals' little chimp in all their minds were going, well, RCB will certainly win 1 game. And they've got to try and clear that and just play to their standards, try and put them under pressure and trying to forget that the RCB team haven't won a game so far, because it's so easy to think about, wait a minute, they're going to win a game eventually. It could be us today.
Yeah, you just got to make sure that the chimp goes from the mind, gets on your shoulder, got to get it off there as well. So it's a double whammy. But double whammy today as well on Sunday, Super Sunday, double header, the first game between 2 teams in the bottom half. Well, here's a top team playing a bottom team, the Kolkata Knight Riders against the Rajasthan Royals, and whether you like it or not, you cannot escape the one man, Andre Russell. He's been talked about everywhere, and the numbers that he's produced are absolutely phenomenal. Just have a look at those strike rates compared to a couple of other strikers, big strikers of the ball in Rishabh Pant, who will be in action later this afternoon, and Hardik Pandya. Just look at that, 268.83, nearly double of what the remaining team did. And we saw on 2 occasions it was in a situation where he had to get the team out of trouble.
That's the interesting one. The interesting one is not that he hits it so well. He hits it so well under pressure in must-win situations. And to take his team across the line 2 or 3 times like that is just, for in a season to do it once or twice is the same. To do it in 7 games, to do it 3 times is like, this is incredible. It is, I mean, he is definitely, and he's also defining, and a lot of people are talking about it, a new style of players, this sort of man-beast kind of guy who sort of just has the power and goes at it fast. And there are a lot of talks about should you actually bat him earlier in, and of course cricket purists will say that he's a finisher, he's not a starter, but he's just, he's defining a genre of players. So
I always like to break it into overs that he's faced. He's faced 12.5 overs in this year's IPL. 12.5 overs, he scored 207. Yeah. So he's still got, when he's batting his 20 overs, he's still got 6.1 overs, is that right? 7.1 overs remaining to try and get to 350. He could quite easily himself score 350 if he bats 20 overs. 12.5 overs for 207 runs. Not bad.
But the thing is, he's almost a changed player, because we talked about Pollard in the old days would prefer only maybe 2 or 3 overs, the ideal time for him. Dre Ross was like that when he started out, but he's the kind of player, he'd come in maybe 160 for 2 and propel your score to 190, 200 or plus that. But in these situations, he's come in when the team has been down, and that's the big change we've seen.
Well, he's come in on 2 or 3 occasions where you actually think that KKR are losing the game. You're not getting enough, or there's no chance that that target can be chased down, and all of a sudden he just gets into his mode of sixes. And he knows, and I think when you're in his kind of team, you always break down chaser, particularly in the last 4 or 5 overs, and I think if there's 30 balls remaining, you're chasing 12s and 13s, you just need 1-6 per over. And when you've got that style of player ready to come in or at the crease, anything's possible. I just hope that Dre Russ is playing in the World Cup. I really hope the West Indies get him in their 15. The World Cup needs that style of player. The West Indies have got a great group of players now. A group of players that could challenge some of the better teams in the tournament. They could have their tournament like we saw in the T20 World Cup in India just a couple of years ago. They've got enough in their ranks to be able to be very, very competitive. Whether 50 overs might be too long for them, we'll have to wait and see. But I really hope that Dre Russ is in that World Cup.
What date is the England-West Indies game?
It's in June sometime. I'm not too sure.
I'll talk to you at the end of that.
He wants him to.
I just want to see the best. I want AB de Villiers in the World Cup. It baffles me that I don't know what's happened there with South Africa, but I want AB de Villiers in the World Cup. I don't know if that can be brought together again. I'm not too sure what the history is, and I'm not too sure why he's not playing. But I want all the best players in the world playing in the World Cup.
Yeah, it's one of those points to ponder. You probably had as much chance of ABD playing in the World Cup as you did of answering the Joy Factor question from yesterday, which was pretty much none. Today, Joy is being a little more like Joy MT Bhattacharjya. So he's being a little more generous, but that's all I'll tell you. It's just a little bit better than what it was yesterday, so Joy, take it away.
Okay, here's a question that Gautam got almost immediately. In the records of limited over matches, Mahela Jayawardene and MS Dhoni are the only centurions ever for which specific team? So they are the only 2 guys who have hit a limited over century. It's a 50 over match. For which specific team? And Gautam, you had the answer and you had a hint of your own.
I'm not sure if I should give it away. Maybe, we'll let it be.
It was a great partnership.
We'll see at the halfway point if they want a few more hints. Hashtag Cricbuzz Live. Get those answers coming in. Tell us a little bit more about that in case we find that too many people have been on the same side, or too many answers coming in too quickly. And also remember the shades. Different color of shades, different style of shades. Get a different pose in your profile picture, and then we can make sure that we'll get those 2 in there. Well, now is the other important time, the other important competition that's among the 3 of us. The MPL Super Couch prediction, because this is going to be an interesting one. It's a high-scoring ground. It's an afternoon game. It's a team who've lost 5 on the bat who are going into bat first. So it means that we could expect a big score. So, Joy, are you going to go for this one?
I might as well. 190.
Oh, I was going to say 190. I'll go 200 then.
190, 200.
I think you're going to lowball us.
Lowball? Nah, I'm going to go higher. I'm going to go higher. I just have a feeling about the green jersey, the afternoon game, and the fact that Ajit's sitting at the ground over there. We need to keep him happy as well. So I think there's something about this particular side. They're going to come. They like Delhi 13-1. That's the record. So 210. Not too much higher. I'm just going to go 210. So I've got the either side of 201 till 220 is what I'm keeping. So there we have it. We know it's going to be a fairly high-scoring contest. How much can Delhi chase down? If it's a good enough pitch, that lineup could probably fancy chasing down even 180, 190. So I think the Royal Challengers Bangalore in green will have that in their minds. That's all we have from MPL Presents Cricbuzz Live. We'll be back at the halfway stage. Will the 10 overs already see a mountain of runs? Will ABD and Virat Kohli be part of another great partnership? Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Michael. We'll see you folks soon.